real business owners.
Hey guys, welcome back to Real Business Owners Podcast. This is episode 27, brought to you by Easier Accounting. Guys, no business is too big or too small. If you have any questions in regards to entity formations, tax returns, bookkeeping, anything in general that has to do with accounting, make sure that you reach out to us here at Easier Accounting so that we could take care of you. Guys, we have a very, very special guest for you today, an individual that Kale knows very, very well.
That's
Kale,
right.
do you want to introduce our man here, our guest?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We've got Jasen Workman joining us on the podcast today. This guy is an owner and operator of a tattoo business,
Yes.
you know, and I know it fairly well because I've been a client of his now. I've been probably, dude, I've got this whole sleeve done mainly by you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've done probably 4 full sessions, which our sessions go long, man. They're
Yeah.
like 10, 11, 12 hours.
Absolutely.
And then we've had touch-up sessions too, man. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, where we come up just to finish up. And so, dude, I've probably spent
A lot of time.
50, 60 hours in this guy's chair.
Yeah.
And we've had some awesome conversations from life to business. And this guy, I've always been impressed with him. That's why I wanted to have you on today, dude. I love the stuff we geek out on when it comes to business and building relationships and clients. And I know we're going to cover some of that stuff today. So
Absolutely.
welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and I follow you guys as well, and I have had an opportunity to build an amazing relationship with Kale here and talk about family and life and business growth, expansion. And
So I'm going to try to
so-
pull some of the dirty stuff out. And I'm sure
Pull the
that
dirty stuff out.
You know, we talk about that a little bit. Obviously, when you spend a lot of time with somebody, you cover a lot, especially
Yes.
if the sessions are 10-hour, 11, 12-hour sessions. I mean, you're not going to stay on one subject for 10 hours or 12 hours. You probably hit everything from A to Z, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And my guess is when you get to the point where you're at, where you can be a little bit more selective about who you work with, you're probably wanting to make sure that you can deal with somebody in your chair for 10 hours at a time. You don't want some, you know, weird dude that, you know, can't carry a conversation. Do you ever like fire clients because they're just...
Oh, absolutely. We
You
fire
do?
clients all the time. You know, if you're going to spend that much amount of time with somebody, you got to make sure that
You gotta
there's
vibe with them.
a common denominator. You know,
Yeah.
you got to work together with people, and you know, it's in my business and tattooing. The last thing I want is somebody to have a bad experience because they're going to carry that experience out with them.
Yeah.
So in the initial consultation stages or getting to know a client in any business, you know, you got to make sure there's genuine relationship there.
So
Oh,
at
he
first-
actually told me that when I went to get my first tattoo by him.
Yeah.
Because he's worked on Coulter, he's worked on CAD, he's worked on casing.
Yeah.
And dude, his work's phenomenal. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, and so he tells me, he's like, yeah, dude, I don't just work with anybody, you know, whatever. You'll hear from Crystal, you know,
My
lady.
fiance, yeah.
And she's like, she'll let you know if you're gonna get on our books or not. And I remember being nervous, dude, because I didn't hear from him for days. and I was like hitting Coulter. I'm like, bro, I don't think he's gonna take me on.
I think I remember you
But he
saying,
told me, he's like,
talking
I'm
to
very
Coulter.
selective. I'm not gonna just work
Yeah.
with anybody. And so I was like, man, maybe we didn't vibe. I thought we vibed though. 'Cause, dude, we hit it off right from the get go. So I wasn't worried about it. And then when I didn't hear from you for a few days, then I was worried about it. And I was like, dude, I really want his work, you know?
And in my business with building relationships with people, it's, you know, I mean, you can tell when you vibe with somebody if it's a personality trait, if it's something. Some people have big egos and bravados, and they come in and they kind of beat their chest, and you know, and it's like an environment where you really genuinely connect. I feel like, especially in my business, in that first couple of hours of getting to know somebody, they have this umph they bring with them, this big ego, bravado.
Yeah.
And I think that's in any relationship.
Yeah.
People want to put their best foot forward
course.
to create some sort of scenario where they feel like they're the A student in the classroom. But
Yeah.
eventually, you
It's
know,
almost
you
like
start
dating.
to break that down.
When you're
Yeah.
dating, you're putting your best foot forward.
courtship,
And then
absolutely.
eventually, after a year or so, you slowly start showing your real self.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Yeah.
and all the flaws that come with it. And so it's probably the same thing.
I
when
try
they're
to break
building-
that down in the first couple hours getting to know people.
Just
It's like, here's my truth. Here's the no
Let
BS.
the curtain down and
yes.
just tell me who you are, what you're about,
Absolutely.
and let's vibe out.
And then once that is done, and an initial meeting with somebody, then you know you start to evaluate. Like, man, it seems like this is going to be a great person to work with, and I want to develop a long-term relationship with them.
Yeah.
In my industry, I'm putting pictures on people's skin. The last
Yeah.
thing I want is for somebody to look down at their arm and hate me for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So like the topic of of my discussion today was like the lifetime value of a client. And it's something that I see to be very, very relevant in especially what I do, or any kind of interpersonal communication with people where you are spending a lot of time with them, or they're walking away with something where they're going to constantly remember you for the rest of their lives.
Out of all the customers that you service now, what percentage are repeat customers versus the new ones that you start working with?
Oh gosh. I mean, I've got clients that have been working together with me for decades.
Yeah.
And then I have new people that are coming in, and they're, Fortune 500 company owners, and they're getting their first tattoo, and it's all built off of the relationship that maybe somebody they met and, gave a great recommendation, and like, you got to go connect with Jason, and those people become lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And not just clients, but, real relationships.
So would you say 80% of your current business, or 70% that you've seen them at least once or twice prior?
I'm going to say about 80% are repeats or repeats within a small circle.
Yeah.
And then maybe about 20% new.
Yeah.
So, and when I say like, it seems like a client in a small circle, the friends and family, it seems like people that we communicate with, they only have like maybe 5 to 15 people they communicate with on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's one entity,
Right.
and then it's like the gated communities of the world,
Right.
I mean, you have only so many people within that community, and then you go over to this community and there's so many people there. So I feel like each individual person is kind of within that constraint. So, I become friends with them and build a relationship with them, and then their cousin or sister or mom or dad or, 4 or 5 of their friends, and, and we all have something as a common denominator to talk about.
Yeah.
We're talking about,
You're
so-and-so's
working on
sister.
somebody,
And,
then you're like, oh, yeah, I heard about that at your family reunion, and this happened or
exactly.
that.
So I already kind of know my clients as they walk through the door. Kale, a great example is hearing how amazing your coworkers and have spoken about you, and then you walk through the door and it's like, man, I feel like I already know you a little bit. And then we sit down and we start to engage and we have some conversations, and you already come from a position, where your client or your workers have told me that you're a great person. So I have that expectation, get to know you. It's true, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
you've told me that, man. And it's really great to hear, because we do work really hard. We've done episodes on culture just recently.
I think that was the last one that dropped, I think.
It's really nice to hear we don't just talk about it and then we hear behind our backs that we're really
assholes.
Absolutely.
Because
we genuinely care about our staff, our people. Like, we don't, look down on them like you work for us. Like, we try and build everybody up, that we're all even. We all work together on this mission, and so it's really cool to hear that.
And there's a value scale to that, I mean, because those people will project that in front of you, and then when people like myself come in and meet you, there's already an expectation. So it's kind of like the lifetime value of what I'm talking about.
Well, if we're talking about lifetime value, let's talk about lifetime value, okay? So there's lifetime value in a couple different areas then. In what you just barely said, what's your lifetime value for employees?
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
It could go on both sides, right? Like, you have lifetime value with customers, which you obviously have to service, but I believe that the lifetime value of the customer comes from the lifetime value, or excuse me, the experience that you create either for your employees that service your customer, or in your case, if you're servicing the customer, you are your own employee, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you have to hold yourself accountable to show up at this time to make sure that this work gets done, or whatever it is, or stay as late as you need to. So you're owner/operator, right? And so the relationships that we create with our employees ultimately carry over to the lifetime value of our customers.
Absolutely.
So our job should be able to take care of our employees, which ultimately then their job is to take care of the customer. Okay?
I agree.
And then it creates a higher lifetime value. In your case, and again, I don't have any tattoos, but I know some people that they kind of jump around. Like, almost like they're trying to find their artist,
their
right? The
connection,
one, exactly. Like, they're missing that connection. Like, oh, this guy did this one, and then I had this one to do this one, and they're trying to jump. But it's funny when people find you, they go back to you.
Again and again.
He's
You
our
know what I
dude,
mean?
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Coulter, Cat,
Yeah.
Jason, me.
We
We,
have-
don't go to anyone else anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well, I think every artist has their individual value. In my industry, I don't think there's any bad artists. I feel like people will connect with them on personality levels, on art levels.
So do you
I
believe
don't
that
think
some
that-
people do great work, but they don't connect with their clients, and maybe that
No,
is
because
why
they
people
do
don't
connect
repeat?
with a certain type of client. And this
Okay.
goes back to the idea of like those consultations that I
Gotcha.
do. You know, I mean, I may not connect with this client. And that's awesome. I want them to have a great experience.
Gotcha.
And a great, you know, a lifetime connection with their artist.
Yeah.
So if I'm not connecting, I'll send them to somebody I think they can connect with. Or vice versa. If I do connect with them, I even encourage them to go out and have other experiences. I never put myself in a position where I feel like I'm more or better than anyone else. But I do look for genuine connection, you know, because I want this person to walk out, look down at their skin and be like, man, you know, they get out of the shower, you know, they're like, Jay, man, I got to give that guy a call. I got to wish him a Merry Christmas or something, you know, like, or, you know, random gifts in the mail that get sent or whatever it is, you know, or a random text like, hey, man, I was in the store the other day and someone stopped me and they just couldn't stop looking at the work you created for me. And I'm so proud to own it.
Yeah.
And to me, it gives me a sense of connection to them as well. You know, that I created a piece of art and they carry it with them and they
That's
love
insane.
it. And they're
I
proud,
do too, man.
proud
Like,
to hold it. So.
When I'm like, when I'm on that side of town, and I'm like, oh, there's Jay's shop. I'll just stop in. If he's not busy, we get to talk it up for a minute. If he's busy, just want to say hi, bro.
Yeah,
and he's always
absolutely.
super welcoming. And dude, you know what? All the time I've spent in your chair and we've spent together. It's crazy, man, because, and I told you this in the last session, I was like, dude, it's so crazy sitting here talking about the whole tattoo business because the things we talk about apply to any business.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, in building lifetime value in your customers, it's across the board, whether you're a tattoo expert and a shop owner, whether you're an accounting, you know, when you're servicing a client,
It's anybody that's servicing a customer.
Yeah.
There's things
really is.
that you do to really, you know, create that experience.
I agree.
And you're like a master at it. So I'm like, dude, I don't care what industry you're in, like having Jason in, people are going to learn something and building that lifetime value customer. And I think from what we talked about of all the times we've been together, and I don't know this 100%, you might have always been this way, but I know there were some big shifts too, like where you went from, dude, you had to level up.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that you're now tattooing CEOs and other CEOs are flying you to their area and they're not only just paying for you to do work on them, but their employees and their team members, and they're paying you thousands of dollars a day to do so. And, you know, I know that you went through like how many miles was your walk?
Oh gosh, I went on a 630-mile walkabout with a backpack.
Yeah.
And that was just a detox, you know, cleaning my mind out. And, you know, I got so focused in sales and instead of connection. You know, I went through the ego stage. I mean, I'm sure we can get into some backstory. You know, I went through the ego stage. I burned a lot of relationships to the ground, and, you know, I did a walkabout. It was 630 miles, and it really
you can't
allowed
call
me.
it a walkabout.
Yeah.
Then you say
San Francisco to Portland. It was a pretty
damn.
hefty walk. So.
When you say walkabout, I'm thinking like couple blocks or something. I just did a walkabout. It's like
no, San Francisco to Portland, Oregon, and in that adventure, I had to ask myself, who am I? You know, I mean, what am I trying to do? What is my career like? What are my hopes and dreams? And then I started to connect that to clientele. You know, and I started asking those questions. What are your hopes and dreams? Where are you going? What kind of business plans do you have? You know, how do you feel like you show up? You know, in front of your customers or your clients, or are you trying to build big things? Are you constantly on the go? Or are you know, innovative? Or are you stuck? You know, so I started asking different questions after that for sure, and made a couple of huge shifts in my own life that led me into all different new adventures. And
so you had the realization that where you wanted to go versus where you were, the gap between those two places were servicing customers at a whole different level.
Agreed. Yeah. And I think that's important. I feel like we'll get to a certain spot in our businesses where at first we're trying to figure things out, and then we make a shift where we're starting to build popularity and growth, and we're starting to become really accepted, and we may become sponsored or expand our business or retain new clients, or, you know, hit the right, you know, nail on the head with our marketing. But then we go through an ego stage where we feel like we're untouchable and top of the food chain.
Of course.
But then somewhere in there, this thing will happen where you burn it to the ground. You know, I mean, you make a major shift and you're like, you know, what am I doing? You know, what kind of value am I adding? What kind of purpose do I have? You know, what's kind of legacy am I leaving behind? Whatever it is. I mean, we're going to go through these stages, and I feel like we die and are reborn, die or reborn,
all
die
the
and
time.
reborn consistently over and over and over again, every 6 months to a year.
And if you don't, you become stagnant in life and depressed and like you got to continue to morph, right, into something newer, something better, something greater. And the only way that you can morph into something better is by asking those deep questions. Yeah. Who am I? What do I want to leave behind? How do I want to be remembered? Yeah. You know, you don't want to be remembered as the ego tattoo guy that thinks he's on, you know, you want to create real connections with people, and you determined that and then made those adjustments. And dude, I've you know, again, we have several people in the office that have had work done by you, and it's all praise. It's all just Jason's the man. Like, it's almost like they enjoy just sitting in your chair, being around you, and the tattoo is an added benefit, man.
I will say that's something that's been in the past few years I've really kind of tried to nail down. Is the idea of not doing it for the ego, not doing it for praise, but doing it because sometimes we just need somebody to divide our pains with. Yeah. You know, somebody else to, you know, like split I'm stressed, I'm frustrated, or oh my gosh, I'm experiencing too much expansion in my company or my business. And sometimes we just need somebody to like divide the pain. Yeah. You know, you cut it in half and all of a sudden you're only carrying half the burden. Yeah. So I feel like I've become that person. And I feel like a lot of times it's your chiropractor might have your ear, it might be your hairstylist, it might be a friend, you know, your closest sibling. I mean, we're constantly dividing that. But in my space, people do it for 8 hours at a time. Yeah. Where it's like, you know, first it's everything's cool, but then you start breaking it apart and you're like, all right, there's something deeper underneath this.
That's probably when my wife's like, go get on Jason's books again. Get some shit.
Get that shit. Yeah. You're being an asshole. You're being an asshole. Go get a tattoo. You know.
She's never actually done that, but she's always been supportive. She's like, yeah, go.
Absolutely.
She knows how much I enjoy the experience.
So let me ask you this, because when I don't have tattoos, so I can't speak for individuals and why they do. But what I feel like I've noticed, and I'm pretty good at kind of noticing things and kind of putting things together, is a lot of people get tattoos when they're going through something maybe meaningful to them, whether it's a child's birth or whether it's you morphing, me and Kale going through different experiences on a different journey, trying to find our highest self. Yes. You know, and I've seen tattoos on people, they're like, well, this represents some of the past shit that I've gone through, and I'm like breaking through, and then this, it means, you know, so it has real deep purpose and meaning, and usually it's lifetime, or it's life shifts.
Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's I got off a plane in a new city I've never been to before, and I want to get a little token or memento. Really? I feel like they're little keepsakes of time. Okay. You know, you remember everything that's going on in that space when you get it done, and
it's almost
you have
like a time capsule
reminder.
Thing where you're saying
it really is, and we do that. I mean, we collect stamps, we buy pictures, we decorate our home. You remember where we were when we were doing all that. I think tattooing is just or is another form of that.
It's almost like documenting your life's journey.
Absolutely.
This is when I was like 18, and this is here's when I was going through this or that. Like, 'cause some people can go through an entire process of explaining where they were at and what they were doing. Absolutely. Almost with each tattoo.
Absolutely. They're little time capsules. You mentioned something about like the why, and you know, I'm reminded of ethos, pathos, and logos, the emotion, passion, logic. Yeah. And I always try to meet people there. You know, when somebody walks in the studio, if they just lost a loved one, last thing I want to do is be like, yo, let me tell you about this super great thing I'm working on right now. Yeah. It's amazing. I've got this new business venture I'm working on.
Your tonality, your energy,
man, I'm
all
like,
that.
I'm meeting them in their space and saying, hey, you know what? I lost my grandma a few years ago. Wow. And I know how you're feeling, and, you know, let's find some closure here. Yeah. The guy comes in, he just ran the Ironman. He's stoked on life. I don't want to be like, man, I just lost my grandma a couple of years ago. You know, I mean, it's not going to... So I try to meet them there, and this is something that when I'm building a lifetime value with somebody, I think about. The logic guy, he's like, man, this guy down the street is this amount. This guy over here does this style, and they come in and they're really looking logically. I want the best bang for my buck, and I try to meet them there as well. So,
it's so important.
Or humor. Some people come in and they're just... they're happy and they're high on life and they're funny and they're fun to be around. And I try to, meet them with some comedy back and forth.
Yeah.
And, so I think, in retrospect, sometimes it's about the image, but sometimes it's a lot more about that interaction with the client.
So you try to mirror the customer.
Exactly.
Meet them where they're at.
I'm not going to say, well, maybe for lack of better words, but chameleon-like, you meet them where they are. Yeah. And, when you start to have that real connection with them, man, they build real relationships, real friendships.
Yeah, and you can do that. You can do that genuinely, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be fake to build rapport with people.
No,
you can genuinely care for them and want to put the right piece of art on them. And same thing with us in our business. Like we can genuinely care for them and want to do the best job for them, meeting them where they are.
Absolutely.
But building that rapport is so important, man, because that rapport is like, that is kind of a big piece of what brings them back. You know what I mean? So
it is.
I totally relate.
A
with
real
what you're saying
relationship there. So, you've been through pain.
Yeah.
You've been through happy times. You've got some jokes in the back, and in the pocketbook. I mean, you've had some grief, remorse. Like you've made mistakes. You've built it and lost and failed. And I mean, so when you connect with somebody else on those values, or I guess on those experiences, they're like, oh man, I don't feel alone now.
Yeah.
I can sit down. And so it's not disgenuine at all. It's really just digging into your own past and utilizing those experiences to have a genuine connection.
Yeah, being
it's
empathetic
that common
with
denominator
them,
thing. So.
And it is a good business move at the same time. It's not for the money. Like you want to do those things to genuinely help them and create an experience for them and service them the way they want to be serviced, and then they want to come back and do more business with you. And it's a kind of a win-win.
I honestly don't think that even if you did it, if you were disgenuine, I don't think that you could do it for that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
in order to sustain that type of work and that connection, it has to be genuine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You will get burnt out if you're being disingenuous.
You don't know who you are when you look in the mirror at the end of the day.
Again, you said it. Everybody's gone through various different emotions, and if they're going through that emotion, you just tie an experience that you've gone through that is the same emotion.
Okay.
If they're going through sadness, like you said, well, yeah, I lost my grandmother too a couple years ago. You're finding the emotion that connects with that emotion in your experience and their experience, and you're closing that gap to make them, understand that everything's going to be okay. It's all good. They're not alone with whatever they're going through.
Absolutely.
Right?
Now, when you pull this back full circle to the lifetime value that you're building in that client, or customer, or the relationship you're building, I feel like when you have people you can really lean on, it just doesn't go away. I can make a phone call to somebody and be like, man, I'm having a bad day. Yeah. And you have a genuine shoulder to lean on. Somebody to, I didn't grow up with a bunch of business people showing me how to do stuff in my life. So I can call a couple of these guys that I've worked with, and they're like, Jason, dude, I'm so glad I could actually offer you advice because you've spent so much time with me, and I feel connected in a way that's like they're giving back to me the same way that I gave to them. Yeah. And I feel like this is in a lot of businesses where we connect with people. So,
I honestly believe that's probably what's missing in 2019 is genuine connections with customers or clients. Sure. Because everybody wants to automate everything. Everybody wants hands off. Yeah. How could we service people without creating real connections?
Nobody wants a sense of insignificance, and by genuinely connecting with other people, it gives them a sense of significance. It doesn't matter what their job is, what their daily life is. It feels like, there's so many people in the world right now, and we all want a sense of significance in anything that we're doing in either business or relationships or work or building whatever it is. And finding that sense of significance can come strongly from the relationships you have with other people. You feel like a significant part of their life, and it gives you a sense of legacy
Dude, if you create a real connection with a customer, they're gonna stay with you. That's what it is. They're not now only just buying the service. Yeah. They're supporting an individual that they like.
Absolutely.
You right?
And I want to talk about the value of that. Yeah. So say that I do a $5,000 piece on my client. Yeah. My client goes out and they show a few of their family members in that circle, a couple of friends, maybe they're on their social media page blasting it out there. That $5,000, if we're talking about like value monetarily, that can radiate into maybe 5 to 10 more clients. But there's another side to this. If I do a piece of artwork, that person that collected that $5,000 piece may want to buy a print or another piece of artwork from me. Or if I decide to launch a new brand or a new company, I may have that one of these people as a potential investor. Or like I said, when I think of the lifetime value, I might do a $5,000 tattoo on you, but I mean the value of that is exponentially 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. Even to the point where I would coach my younger artists that came out to work with me over the years, like, you do a bad tattoo, it just costs you $5,000.
Yeah.
You do a great tattoo, you just earned 500,000.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize that that person's 25 years old, 30, whatever it is, and that person, by the time they're 60,
they're walking
will
around
have carried that with you. In my line of work, in my business, and what I do is tattooing, it's never ending.
Yeah.
So same thing with an experience. If somebody walks in, say, in accounting, and man, those guys showed me above and beyond service. I felt so connected with them. They helped me heal this pain of this accounting problem I had. Yeah. I'm not ever going to go anywhere else.
Totally.
I mean, hell, once a year you're getting maybe, I don't want to project anything, but even getting sticky with people, you know, the idea of like making small investments into them and, you know, showing them that you care, or, you know, the Christmas cards you get in the mail from people, you know, from businesses, as it's showing a sense of relevancy, a constant reminder, you know. I feel like that idea of getting sticky, I got that from Kelly Curtis in a talk. He said, get sticky with your clients. Yeah. And he's like, you know what, cater to them, you know, meet their needs.
It's all the small things.
Yeah.
Because when somebody comes to us for accounting, they're going to expect accounting.
Yeah.
But will they expect a handwritten thank you card and a T-shirt and things like that in the mail? No,
a water
because that's
bottle,
whatever it is, right? So it's just the
a happy Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
Right?
It's just those small little teeny touches, because some people think that, just like we talked about employees, right? Like, some employers think they can give them a paycheck and that's enough. Yeah. Right? And they expect them to go above and beyond. If you do those extra little things for them, then they'll go above and beyond for you. And it goes the same with a customer, right? Absolutely. If they're hiring you to, you know, replace their tires, they expect you to replace the tires. Yeah. But what if you wrote a little thank you card and put it right in their cup holder? Yeah. So when they get in the car and there's a $5 Starbucks gift card and says, thanks for choosing us for new tires.
You went above and beyond.
You just went above and beyond, and it costs you $5 to do it. I guarantee you they're going to come to you every single time that they need a new set of tires. So it's not the big shit that keeps customers coming back, because they expect you to do exactly what you said you were going to do. It's the little teeny things right around it that they didn't expect. Exactly. That blows their mind.
The shit you can't automate. Exactly. Like, I can send out an automated Merry Christmas text to the entire client base of Easier Accounting, but dude, if I actually take the time to customize it, to say, hey, I remember you. Yeah. You know, and you customize that, you know, Merry Christmas or thank you or whatever around them. Like, I enjoyed our time today talking about this, and I'm really glad you chose us. Then they're like, dude, they feel that significance.
I'll tell you what, my fiance gets a little bit buggered at me, because come Thanksgiving or Christmas, I always send out a message to my clients and say Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah. But they're all different. And I guarantee you probably have 3 or 4 people here in the office that I sent, you know, hey, Happy Thanksgiving to. Clients, people I've worked on that I've built real relationships with. I guarantee you, if you check them, they're all individualized.
They're all
I don't just send a blast out. I'm like, hey, man, just want to say thank you, or hey, Happy Thanksgiving, or whatever it is. And just small deposits into people, you know, consistently over the years is enough to just create that retention, you know. I guess I don't even like to put it that way. No, you're
again,
really,
it's not
like,
it's you're just being genuine.
It just is what it is,
about somebody supporting you. You want to support them and show that you care, and that you really did create a connection while they were in the chair. It wasn't just like, hey, I made money, good luck, see you later. If you ever need anything, come back. And then it's just, you know, the relationships. You're creating and building real relationships, and therefore, everything, there's a byproduct to every decision, right? Or, you know, it's going to be positive or negative. Whether you do something or you don't do something, it will have some sort of consequence. Absolutely. Right? You're doing it genuinely, but there is a byproduct of being genuine and creating real relationships with people, and the byproduct is repeat customers and more revenue, more money. Kale talking about how great. What did I tell you when we were texting about you when you left last week when we set this appointment? And I text you and I said, fuck, I really like Jasen. I said, I don't even have a tattoo, but it makes me want to get in his I said it makes me want to get in his chair and just get a tattoo to get one.
Absolutely.
That's flat out what I text him, because you're a genuine ass good dude. And you can just feel that, you can sense that, and that's,
you want better for other people than you want, I mean, than they want for themselves. Sometimes it comes through.
Well, and it is a wise investment to become a genuine person for retention, right? I mean, that's not what you do it for, but like, dude, you've always been a talented artist. Maybe not always, but I've always heard your name before I even knew you and knew that you were good. But there became a point where you were like, I've got to invest into me. And whether it was health or whether it was personal, emotional, whatever, you decided I got to work on me. You did your walkabout. You went on some self-discovery, and then pow, dude, like now you're getting, more repeat business. You're getting higher end people wanting to pay you more for your work, even though your art has always been good. By investing into you and becoming a genuine person, you have a whole nother level of clientele and repeat business, I assume.
Yes. Well, I want to talk, so lifetime value, I think we can relate it to customers and clients, but I think there's other lifetime values that I think about a lot. The lifetime value of integrity, of honesty, of being real, being the realest person in the room, not being afraid to, share your downfalls and shortcomings. The lifetime value
pulling that curtain back that we talked about.
Knowledge and growth, and working hard. Like when we pull this lifetime value thing in, it's not just about clients and dollars and retention, but it's your lifetime value of relationship with kids. Think about what they're going to be like 25 years from now, based off of your experiences and connection with them. So this lifetime value thing I talk about, it's not just related to business, but it's in how you show up
or money. As a man. It's not related to money.
It's not.
It's related to legacy. It's related to many, many different fashions.
How people perceive you.
Exactly.
We've been doing a lot of case studies, and we hired several videographers, and we've been interviewing clients, and I haven't putting in any of the content out because every time I watch it, it makes me cry. It gets me emotional because I didn't really know how people thought about me, and we had this series of questions where I'm listening to them, and it's like, man, how does Jasen show up as a like, what is Jasen good at? Is it at tattooing or being a man? Or, man, connecting with Jasen is like connecting with your closest sibling. Or, man, he just really makes you feel like family, even though this is the first time I've ever met him. It got me emotional, and I was like, how in business, how are you connecting? I guess, and this would be a question out there. For people to maybe even like chime
ask
in on
themselves,
like how are you connecting? What do your clients think about you? I mean, how are you? What do your coworkers think about you? What's your team look like? Your workforce. How are they looking at you? When they go home, they're sitting down, they're thinking about the boss, or they're thinking about the coworker. How are you showing up? Are you bringing value into their life? Are you,
like we talked about, above and beyond a paycheck.
Well, I know you haven't published those videos yet either, but you should let me watch a few of them. And I was honored that you asked me to do one of them too, dude. And I'm like, but dude, I did have a moment where I was like, this is so brilliant to really find out what people are thinking about you. Because a lot of this stuff I said, and then I watched others, dude, they all say it a little bit differently, but all the same meaning. It's like, damn, Jasen really does create that experience.
It does.
He's not just faking it, you know what I mean? Like he's not.
It's 100%. Fake about it. It's across the board. It's not like,
dude, it got me all emotional. I was like a little girl in the bathroom crying, like, wiping away my. I don't wear mascara, but if I did, it would be all over my face, So
everyone said you're real. Everyone said that you create a great experience, and everyone said that you're a good ass dude. You show up for your family. You're a good man. Like everybody said a lot of the same things, man. And so I thought that was a really brilliant idea.
It was intriguing to see that, and that's what kind of spawned this whole idea of like, what's the lifetime value of our clients? Because you know, I feel like we try to impress a certain amount of people. You know, we try to put ourselves out there and we want to join the group.
Put our best foot
clique.
forward, right?
Yeah.
But then we have people that genuinely support us and they genuinely care about our success and they hold us up and, you know, even in our times when we're falling, and don't lose sight of those people. Those are the people you need to double down on.
Yeah.
You know, there's people that genuinely want to see your success and growth. And sometimes we lose that as we are moving forward and as we are, you know, building something bigger and bigger. And, you know, it's like all of a sudden the guy that, he used to support me a lot, but, you know, I fell off. Well, reinvest into those people, you know.
Sometimes we do get lost in our own success, right?
Like we do as business owners.
You know, maybe at first when there's not a lot of money coming in, it's easier to invest into people and be genuine. And then as the money starts coming in, the ego starts rising, you know, all of that stuff. And then you kind of lose why you started getting that initial success anyways, and that personal touch or whatever it is, because you're so high on your own supply of your ego that you forget about what got you there.
Or your
all
mind
those
is
small
so
things.
divided in so many different directions. You start to
so
forget.
much going on within your business.
You know, I mean,
like,
you're dealing with 10 different things. Your capacity level is completely overwhelmed.
Because you've scaled, you got so many different problems now.
Exactly.
To where it's like, my attention needs to be over here rather than saying thank you.
It's like the
over
little
here.
shit that made you who you were and that built your business starts to get lost. And I think that's part of over the last few years, my reinvention of myself is realizing that the stuff people loved about me, it wasn't as grand as I thought it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that I was traveling all over or winning awards or being published in magazines. That stuff gave them a reason to high-five me and congratulate me, but it wasn't the thing that kept them there.
Let me ask you this. So after that success that you had, what made you go on the journey? Did you just feel hollow a little bit inside, like there was something missing, even with all the success?
Oh my gosh!
Like what spawned that? Because I think that's an important topic because people really need to do a lot of soul searching. That's what we're all so busy on a day-to-day basis that we don't even ask ourselves any questions anymore about who we are, what we want to be. We can't even think about next year because there's 10 different things happening right now.
Absolutely.
But what spawned the decision to
health? It really came down to health. I was overweight. I was sick. I was jamming on Red Bulls, probably 3 or 4 of them a day. Got to the point where I was sick and walked in, and you know, I mean, our company did 1.2 million, I think, in 2015. And I didn't know that it was literally killing me. 6-7 days a week nonstop, grinding on planes, off planes, traveling all over the United States, working my tail end off. And then I walked into the doctor and I told him I felt a little bit sick, and he's like, well, you got a brain tumor. And I was like, oh, well, right on. So I started taking a bunch of medicine, and then it just wasn't getting better. So I took my life back into my own hands. Wow. And I did a walkabout, and I basically cleaned out. No energy drinks, no fast food. I was literally, my capacity was stretched so far that it was fast food on the go, energy drinks, 5 hours of sleep a night, keep going, building it, hire more employees. And I just burnt out. I literally went too hard, too far, too fast.
So. I think that's a good lesson just in of itself because we lose ourselves in success. We start putting everybody else first, the customers, our employees. We've got problems. One guy hit me up on Real Business Owners just on the DM or whatever, right? Just messaging me, and he's just like, dude, I am getting burnout. I'm getting stressed. I'm this, I'm that. Like, I don't even know what to do. And I'm like, you're giving and giving and giving to everybody else, and you're putting yourself last. I said, when's the last time you did anything for yourself?
Absolutely.
Something you loved and enjoyed, and he's like, you're right.
Yeah.
Businesses first, then families first, or families first, then businesses first. And like,
you've got to make time for just self-awareness.
You put yourself last for how many years? Oh yeah. And you burn out. You're not taking care of you. Just
or you burn it all to the ground and like, what the heck did I do? You know, and you literally drop the ball. And, and that was me in about 2015, where I had to rebuild the entire thing from the ground up.
So have you put, like, let's say, things in place to make sure that doesn't happen again in terms of, like, an extra day off, or I only work X amount of hours, or are you still kind of overloaded? I mean, what's
staycations, cabin suites, you know, or
so
I turn
every
my
so often
phone
you
off.
treat yourself?
Yeah, just getting away sometimes. And,
Yeah.
you know, those are the times when you become the most innovative, though.
Yeah.
You know, you think that while you're in the grind, you're actually making major changes. It's not. It's when you step away.
When it's quiet.
Yeah, and you've got a few days, and I think the first day or two you start freaking out because, you know, maybe you're out of service with your phone, or, you know, like people need you, and then all of a sudden you turn it off.
Is that the ego though?
Yeah,
the ego say people need you. People
and then
need
after
you.
2 or 3 days, you don't even want to look at
care.
your phone anymore.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, this has been such a stress relief, and then you jump back into it. But I feel like those are the moments that create genuine.
Creative moments, or just
innovation, you know, where you start looking forward and you're like, you know what, this hasn't been working, what if I try this? And, you know, not try to burn yourself out.
If you're so close to the day-to-day stuff, you can't you almost can't see the problems.
I
so
agree.
If you take a step back and you're and you analyze things, because there's a lot of times that I have ideas on the weekends or whatever that I email myself or whatever, because it's quiet. When you're working, your brain is figuring out whatever you're working on, and it doesn't have free time to think and get creative like we're talking about.
If you can't go out to dinner with some friends and not think about, like, okay, the marketing strategy for this and this and this, and okay, how am I going to build this?
Guilty.
And we got to get those T-shirts ordered, and we've got that new supply. You know, I mean, if you there's literally like there's key points where you can identify, like, wow, I need to take a couple of days and just decompress. You know? And if you don't, you just
we do that with one of our best buds, man. Like when we go out to dinner with Logan, the wives and stuff. It's like sometimes I have to catch myself like, oh shit, I'm over here talking business with Trevor, and like Logan doesn't give a crap about that stuff.
Yeah, he's just sitting there chilling
but
or whatever.
That's one of the reasons he's one of our best friends, man. Because we can all just have fun and not talk about business and marketing and this and that and this client.
You can
that client.
isolate, do small retreats, and do things like that. You know, go grab a cabin with a couple of the guys and, you know, smash ideas out and then go home and then implement. And
we got some trips like that coming up, but it is
going
important.
to California here in a couple weeks.
Nice.
Just to film content for our clients, just to get all this stuff ready for 2020. And it's gonna be epic, dude. We're gonna get so much done. But I think that's really important what you said. Like, you've got to be able to pick up on those telltale signs of like when it's time to work on you. You know what I mean? Give yourself some love, man. Like, you can't give love to others unless you love yourself. I mean, first, you know what I mean?
100%. But let's add more context to this. Okay. Would you be where you're at today if you didn't take step back and do that walkabout?
No.
Without a doubt, right? You wouldn't be where you're at.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You're in a happier place, probably a more profitable place. All of these things are all positive. There's not one negative thing that came from you doing that walkabout and taking time off for you.
And it's all in how you value the negative too. You know, I mean, there are things that, like, man, I could have done this, but you know, you can't live in that headspace. You really can't. You have to say that, okay, I made a choice, and that choice had consequences. I'm never going to downplay the other choice. I'm going to say that, hey, that other choice was a viable option, but this choice that I made, I'm going to accept 100% of the outcome. You know, and I'm not going to live in that space of the what ifs. You can't be there. So I think that the choices I made led me into new ventures, and you make that shit work. You really do. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. You can't downplay the other choices, though. You have to say that, all right, because of this happened, and let's own that moment.
You actually got to have some gratitude for it too, man. Yeah. Like, you know, people spend a lot of time only being grateful for the things that worked out.
Yeah.
You got to have some gratitude for that.
Dude,
those learning lessons.
It's not uncommon that the best things happen or come about when you're at the lowest of lows.
Absolutely.
You were burnt out at the lowest of lows. You just got told you had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And that forced you at that low point to do a lot of self-evaluating.
Absolutely.
And then you made a shift.
A huge shift, yes.
So,
and we've all go to those places too as business owners.
But
I want to say
some people don't make the shift though.
True.
They just stay in a low place. They stay depressed. They don't do anything different.
Agreed.
A low place, I believe, all it's doing is trying to redirect you to something better and something greater if you actually let it, rather than just letting it own you. You flipped it and you owned it and said, okay, I need to take my life back, and here's how I'm going to do it. And you set out to do that, and now 4 years later, look at what you're doing.
I will say in those moments, I really started to connect with the magic of thinking big, Timothy Ferriss.
Okay.
I really was starting to listen
Big
to
reader.
a lot of I started to get into more even coaching, self-help. I mean, there's so much content out there now. You can't live in those negative headspaces for a long period of time.
And you get to choose
There's no
what
value
content
in that.
you
Yeah.
consume. You
And
know
I
what mean?
guarantee you, if you continuously consume it again and
Yeah.
again and again and again, then all of a sudden it becomes a vocabulary for you.
All you are
It
is a
becomes an
byproduct of
identity.
what's gone in your ears.
Agreed.
Let's be real. That's it. Or
Yes.
or the environment. Like
Agreed.
you take me and put me in an environment where there's a bunch of people that are Buddha, I'm going to be a Buddhist or whatever they call it,
Absolutely.
right? Like that's just what it is because that's the environment that I'm in. So if you're constantly putting bad shit in your ears,
Yes.
or around bad people or whatever it is, you're just a product of the environment.
I agree.
So, but you have full control to change your environment. Be careful about what you put in your damn ears and who you surround yourself with, because if you put good information in, you'll get good coming out. It just has to happen.
Now imagine
repetitively.
carrying that bad information from your home, from business stress, from whatever it is, into the negotiations and communications you have with your client.
Exactly.
Now, if you're fighting with your wife and you're walking in, you're trying to communicate with a client and actually create any kind of
honest
value,
connection, and
and you're like, let me tell you about this horrible thing going on in my life. The client doesn't want to hear
Yeah.
about that. I am so stressed. I'm so frustrated at home. I'm so exhausted. Client doesn't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
So I really like in that positive mindset, really engaging with your sometimes you have to leave it all at home.
Yeah.
Let
Check
go
it
of
at the
everything
door.
and
Yeah.
then come in. It's so hard to do because let's face it, if you've ever been in an argument with your spouse and you try to go in and perform at peak levels, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's that divided mind. It's too much energy going in. So even you talked about clients. I'll cancel shit. If I
Not
feel
in
like
a
this
good
is an
headspace.
important enough. Yeah, and with every client, it's important. But if I feel like it's an important interaction or first interaction, I have a headspace that's unclear, I got to cancel it. I'll move it. I'll reschedule. I'll move a client around because I'm not in a personal good headspace. Little things like that I think is super important. And I don't care what business you're in. If you're selling cars and you're fighting with your girlfriend at the end of last night and you're up till 4 o'clock in the morning with your head divided and full of stress and you try to go in and sell cars the next day, it's not going to happen.
how are you going to make it a good experience for them?
Yeah, and people will carry that stuff away
Yeah.
from. Same thing with hairdressing, same thing with accounting, any service where you're interpersonal, and you're connecting with another person on the side of the table. You've got to bring that positive energy in there. You've got to have real connection.
Dude, I agree. I agree
It's all
wholeheartedly.
stuff.
You know that lot that I was going to buy?
Yeah.
I literally pulled out of it because I had a very bad experience with the realtor.
Yeah.
And I honestly, dude, I didn't want that person to make money off of the deal.
Serious,
And literally that was, dude, I've been talking about it forever.
Yeah.
That was like, I wanted to build my house there.
Yeah.
Like, and I finally just sent a huge long text. I'm like, you're cold, you're dry.
Yeah.
This is not the way that you treat people. If
Yeah.
I treated my customers the way that you treat people,
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have any businesses.
Agreed.
How do I get my refund?
Some people try so hard to sell when I think if you can just find a way to heal a pain, a problem, you really love that spot.
connection.
You really love that spot. This guy was trying to sell to you, became a little bit ignorant, and it wasn't communicating, connecting with you on your vision,
Not at all.
on your pain, on
Asking
this
I
thing
asked
that
you a
you
couple
truly
questions,
wanted.
and I would get a K.
Yeah.
That was
And
the response I would get.
Wow.
And then I'd be like,
poor
well,
relationship.
I never got that email. K.
I agree.
Like, and it was just cold, and I'm like, add something to it. Like, how literally just
Wow.
the letter
didn't know that.
K.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
look at I have it in my phone. I could prove it right now.
Or buying a car and the guy is so pushy and you're
Yeah.
like, dude, just give me a little bit of space.
Yeah.
I'm here with my family. We're just looking through windows right now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You maybe want to test drive this one or this one, but it's like, hey.
Don't push the car.
Oh my gosh.
Create the rapport.
Yeah, if you build a relationship.
Because
like-
again, I just flat out just told you guys what I told Kale
Yeah.
about Jasen. I don't even have a tattoo, and I said I like him so much.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about getting a tattoo.
Well,
So
this is the type of stuff we talk about during my tattoo
it's-
sessions.
You know what I
It's
mean? Like,
incredible.
if I don't like the person I'm buying a car from, I would rather just not have the car because I'm not going to reward somebody for being an asshole.
I
It
agree.
just is what it is. Like
agree.
people buy from people.
I agree.
Okay, and if you can't create honest and genuine connections, even if they do buy great, you're not going to have that lifetime value that we've been talking about this entire time. The next person they create a connection with, if they're doing accounting, they're going to quickly jump from us to them if we don't create that connection, even if you do good work.
Yeah.
People crave connections.
And it's in anything. It's the restaurants we frequent. It's the stores we frequent. Maybe we just like the way that person is on the other side of the checkout. You know, they're always smiling.
Yeah. My wife won't even go to Starbucks if she sees a certain girl working behind the counter. She'll go to a different Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's because that person put something out there. And we are creatures of habit, I guess to say, you know, and we like to feel good. And we like to know that our money is spent in the right environments and that we are doing something, you know, that makes us feel content, you know, happy. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter where we're shopping, but we will frequent those places because we get a good feeling from them. You have a horrible waiter. I've been out to Anasazi a couple of times and had a horrible waitress or a waiter. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to come here. And like 6 months not going there.
Yeah. Even if the food's good, the experience was bad.
Yeah, and that's a place that I truly enjoy. And there's other times I've walked in where it's like, oh man, this is so great. And you know, I had a great time with my spouse. And
experiences matter.
Joking. It does. It does.
That's really what it comes down to. You want more money from your clients. Be genuine about creating an experience that they'll enjoy. Make it about them, not about you making a buck. About them having an awesome experience, and everything else will take care of itself.
I agree.
Okay.
That was one of the things I saw in your videos, man, like from all the people you interviewed so far, and I know you're not done yet, but everybody was like, oh man, the experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of one of your superpowers. That's the reason that you're crushing it, making... I mean, I'm not going to tell you how much you make, but I know you make damn good money.
I'll tell you what I make. I make people think. I make people hope. I make people, you know, work through pain. I make people connect. I don't think about the monetary aspect. You know, I make people dream and hope and, you know, and expand and grow and transcend. And that's when I think about what I make, that's what I make. You know, the money is a byproduct of what I do.
But that's your trick in lifetime value, man. That's why people keep coming back. It's experience.
It really
you
is.
know.
So.
Let me ask you this. I mean, in your industry, when is it a good time to evaluate raising your rates, or just maybe in a service industry in general? Is it just when you're backed up like 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, or like when do you really start making those adjustments as an artist? You know, because as you get more experience, you become more valuable.
Absolutely.
And then you create a different experience by connecting. You become more valuable. And that person should be getting paid more and more because the experience, because of the work, because, you know, all of it.
I feel like I feel like that there are people at every levels. You know, for myself, I mean, I've gone through the structure of, you know, it's hard because I have clients that I genuinely like. I love and adore them, and I can't wait to see them. And it's big hugs, and I'll keep them at like a VIP or an OG or a legacy price point.
Okay.
I have new clients that come in, and they're you know, and
it's a little more inflated because that connection hasn't been.
I've got clients that have been around for 17 years now. Wow. You know, and I can't imagine being like, hey, this is my new prices, and you know, you don't like it, because they have been so loyal. I mean, they've probably brought me $500,000. You want
to know what, though? They probably wouldn't bat an eye at it because they want to support you.
They
because you're a good human.
Yeah.
You know
so
what I
I'll
mean?
keep them at a price point, but then they tip me $800 to match my new price point. It's not.
Okay, there you go.
It happens.
So no, and I think there's a difference between overinflating a price because you're hot and you're doing great, and giving an honest value for what you do. You know, I mean, there is a certain market cap. There's artists in my industry that are at $1,000 an hour. You know, but a lot of it's hype. You know, they're tattooing, say, celebrities, and they're in a certain price point where, you know, all their clients are, you know, willing to spend $70,000 for a table ornament. You know, so you know, $20,000 for a tattoo is nothing. I do have to say that, like, I am valuing the tattooing a lot differently these days as I get later in my career. I over the last couple of years, I've realized that I'm permanently altering people's body for the rest of their lives. So it's like a breast augmentation, it's like a nose job, hair implants, a hip replacement, like things that you do to alter your body. You go on a diet, you're going to spend $5,000 in just new gym clothes and memberships and dietary systems. I feel like what I do at the end of the day, people get out of the shower, they feel good in their skin.
Yeah.
You know, they covered up that scar, or they had an old tattoo from when they were young, and there's a value scale to it. So I've been adjusting my prices based on that, like, you know, because it'll never go away. What I do is there's a lifetime value to it. Now, if I'm not getting paid what I feel like I'm worth, and my whole head's not into it, you know, then I devalue the situation that way, just you know, from start.
Yeah.
So if I put a price point where I'm like, hey, I'm grateful I'm making this amount of money, you have my full attention.
Yeah.
We're going to grind sometimes 10, 12, 13 hours in a single day on a rate, you know, I mean, and it just feels like, I don't know, I value it differently now. You know, back in the day it was $50 and, you know, a 6-pack of beer, and I'd rock and roll and do some tattoos. But now I feel like
bring something to fuck me up.
I'm
and that's
permanently
party.
altering your body forever. I'm going to put my whole heart into this. I'm not going to show up with a headache, or, you know, I'll move your appointment if I have to, because I want you to have a great experience.
Because you value that experience for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
And your whole heart, dude, I mean, is quality, because when the people have come up to me and they're like, dude, like, I'm thinking about hitting Jasen up for a tattoo, which we've had several people do. Like, what do you like about him? What, you know, people start asking me. I don't say whole heart, but it is your whole heart that does this. Like, I'm like, dude, if you want a guy that's not just going to put something on your skin, rush you out the door to get to the next person, you want to go with Jasen. Like, there's a lot of money and there is a lot of monetary value in being the best at your skill, right? And you do not cut corners. Like, he will spend 30 minutes on one little spot getting it perfect before he moves to the next spot. And dude, you want that with something that you are permanently putting on your body.
I agree.
You want that. You want someone that's going to wholeheartedly do their best work and not cut corners.
yeah.
And dude, it's like that with anything in business.
I got to a certain point where I guess I see this too. In the world of tattooing, I look at people from a perspective of that they're not a cell phone payment, they're not a mortgage payment. You know, this is something I'm doing for them. They're going to carry with them forever. And so
it has large meaning to the people that I mean, a large meaning.
There's a lot of the younger kids, they don't understand that. If I could actually coach some of the young tattoo artists out there, it's like, look at your client as more than a cell phone payment. Because they are more than that. There's a lifetime of them experiencing your interaction with them, and it will never fizzle. They'll always remember who they were with, what they were doing, you know,
where they were at in their life when it happened. All of that.
Get it out of your head that this is a mortgage payment. Get it out of your head that it's a car payment or. You know, I mean, genuinely,
it's an opportunity to create a relationship.
Altering them, and that relationship will carry on forever, until they die or you die.
Those key elements, man, of not cutting corners and not looking at people as the next mortgage payment or treating them like your next car payment. Dude, that's like, and people hear this, but not a lot of people do this. A lot of people hear about it, but they don't know how to do it. But you really do. The money finds you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't go chasing the money. The money finds you. Yeah. And a lot of people can't really relate to that because they haven't gotten to that point in their business yet. Yeah. But that really is the key, man. Like, you're not cutting corners. You're truly caring about people. You're trying to build rapport with them, for them. You're being empathetic with them. You're creating experience for them. And it's not all for you to make X amount of dollars per hour. It's the money's just finding you. You're finding the clients that will pay you what you're worth.
Isn't it crazy that when you stop hustling, shit just starts happening?
Yeah.
Like, when you're not trying to convey or persuade or do all this, you know, marketing, like when you're, like I said, stop selling, start healing, you know, when you genuinely connect with people, it's like shit just starts happening. You know, it's so crazy how that works out. Anymore. Yeah. You don't feel like you're trying to move the chessboard around. You're throwing the pieces out the window and, you know, you're playing a different game and you're just owning it. It's beautiful. So, anyways,
what's one piece of advice that you would give maybe a young entrepreneur, maybe based upon a mistake that you made, you know, coming into entrepreneurship, that would help them through this journey, right? Not young as in not 18 again.
A couple of things. First off, do the reps. You know, do it again and again. If you spend 30 minutes a day researching marketing, at the end of the year, you know, at 365 days, you're going to have a new vocabulary. And it doesn't matter what area you want to go into. If you want to be a basket weaver, do the reps, do it again and again and again. You're going to fall down. You're going to make some mistakes. But, you know, after doing the reps over and over and over, you will build that vocabulary, that language. Get sticky. Get sticky with your clients, man. I mean, genuinely find, I like to say, the common denominator. What do you do, or what in your life? Ask those questions about, you know, your health, your fitness, your home, you know, fabrication, you know, finance, whatever area it is. Find a common denominator to build a relationship with whoever you're working with. It could be your coworkers, it could be your boss, it could be your spouse, it could be, you know, people you're coaching or mentoring, whatever it is. Try to find some sort of way to connect with that other person. Doesn't matter what it is. Not from a sales point of view. Yeah. Like, oh, you've got kids? I got kids too. How old are your kids? You know, it's little things like that.
How about the weather we're having lately?
Oh yeah,
you know,
you can always tell. You
like,
can always tell a
shit.
stale conversation. Yeah. And if you're not connecting, fine. Send that person somebody they will connect with, so they have a great experience.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool.
Doing the reps, I think, though. You know, the more you do things over and over again, the easier it gets. And then, find the lifetime value of your clients. Understand that your clients worth so much more over the term of a lifespan. You know, you're talking 65, 70, 80 years.
So you're saying don't look at today?
No.
Just don't live for today or that today's paycheck.
Seize the moment, the opportunity, but put a little bit of effort in to make sure that moment lasts a long time. So, you know, make sure that moment continues to, you know, support you and your vision, your ideas, your goals, your dreams, you know, for a couple of generations to come. So
damn, bro, you said you were nervous to come on the podcast. You didn't show it one bit.
That was kind of crazy, huh?
I'm like, dude,
It's just like another tattoo session,
yeah,
bro.
exactly.
This is stuff we geek out on, bro.
Yeah,
It's like,
dude, he's
we put on podcasts.
Yeah.
We put on YouTube.
Dude,
Yeah.
you should
we
do
sit
that.
there and
I've got some dry erase boards.
You should do a podcast and just somebody that once a week that you're tattooing, you just turn on the mic and you just, you know.
I've had a
I
couple
wonder if
people
you call
tell
it
me
like under the needle or something, you know, something like, you know.
How
what I
long
mean?
have we gone?
Like
I felt like this is going to be like a
close to an hour.
20-minute thing, and
dude,
it's
been probably about 45 minutes, 50
That's
minutes.
good.
But
That's good.
no, guys, I know for a fact that you like the episode. Jason's a good ass dude as well. If you're local in St. George, Utah,
anywhere, dude. You
go anywhere, huh?
People
I'll be
flying
down in
out.
Laguna next week.
Yeah.
I'll be tattooing.
Are you allowed to talk about who you're going down to see?
I don't see why
Oh,
not.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Well, maybe I don't know.
I don't know. We'll keep
tattoo
that
a lot
private
of-
just for their, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
yeah, we don't know how
But
they
he
feel about it.
obviously
But
does, you know, high-end people in regards to
Any people though.
Well, go
I
check
feel
out his
like-
freaking
No, what I'm
work,
saying
man.
is that
Like,
they're taking you to a certain place because they
Absolutely.
value you so much and the
Absolutely.
experience so
Absolutely.
much that they want you, and this is where they want you
Dude, I've
when
ran
they
into
want you.
this
And you're
guy-
like, all right, dude, let's roll.
I've ran into this guy at Dallas Airport. He's just coming back from
Yeah.
tattooing people. I've run into
Texas,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's
I mean,
crazy, dude. That's awesome.
he gets
though.
around, bro.
That's because of the experience, though. Is because people
It
just
is.
want his experience.
Dude, I've
His
been in
work,
his chair and
everything.
guys fly in from Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're like there for their next session. They can't wait
Yeah.
to see him. I've been
all over the world actually.
Can I?
They
Well,
come
how do
from all
people
over.
find you in terms of like checking you out, your art, you know, all that? What's
Most
the best
people
place?
email me at jasenworkmanart@gmail.com. I've got Instagram.
What's your Instagram handle?
Jasen Workman, JASEN WORKMAN. You can pretty much just Google me, and there's all kinds of stuff. So
Cool.
But really, that's
Probably
probably
feels
the
good.
easiest
Google
way.
me, bitch. You know, say something like that. Like, who are you? Google me. I don't have to explain myself no more. Check it.
some great stuff.
We recently opened Humblebee Studios. There should be a humblebeestudios.com popping up anytime now. So
Cool.
We've just been kind of building it low and slow.
Good.
You know, put out the right stuff, and you know, something we can attach testimonials to.
Yeah,
So.
people will
That's
love your
good,
work, man. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I saw Coulter's work, and then I went and found your Instagram. I was like, damn, I got to reach out. Then I
Yeah.
emailed you. Then I came and saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been super impressed.
That's
just
the lifetime
with how
value
you run
shit
your
that you were
business.
talking about. You did work on somebody else that was a billboard for Kale's eyes.
Absolutely.
And Kale's like, damn, I like that.
Absolutely.
You know, and you were talking about, yeah, I know, you're looking at $5,000 right now,
Yeah.
but it might be $500,000 over the next 30 years or 40 or whatever. And Kale's a perfect example of that example that you gave earlier in terms of the lifetime value of a customer. I mean, your work is incredible, but I honestly think that you as a human being are even more incredible than what you put out. I mean, your vibe is awesome. You're just a genuine good ass dude.
Thank you, man.
And that's been across the board from anybody that I've spoke to about you.
Yeah.
And sometimes people speak about people and you're like, oh man, this guy's cool. He's this, and you're just like, sure, okay,
I'm sure there's
whatever.
A few
And then I
haters
meet
out there.
you, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like damn, they weren't hyping it up. They weren't lying or anything. They didn't just vibe with it. He can vibe with anybody, and he's a good ass dude. So
well, that's why I wanted you on the show, bro, because I just love who you are.
Yeah.
And when we've talked about building lifetime value in customers, I'm like, dude, we got to have you on a podcast because, dude, everybody that listens to this podcast and follows our Instagram, I mean, dude, everyone's just hustling and grinding. And I knew that you'd bring in some nuggets. It don't matter if you're in tattoos. It don't matter if you're in service. It don't matter if you own a plumbing company. It don't matter, man. Like how you treat your customers is going to determine your success in the next 20 years of your craft. And you're a true example of that, dude. That's why I wanted you on. So
absolutely.
Thanks for coming on today, bro.
I appreciate the opportunity to be here, man.
So to end, we did say that we'd be reading reviews. Okay. So the last review was on Saturday. What's today? Monday? Yeah, so 2 days ago. The headline is No Bullshit Advice. This is from SMI Scrapper. These guys are awesome. I found them the same week that Andy ended the MF CEO project. And while I'm still listening to that, these guys offer a fresh perspective on how to run business and what has helped them succeed. Excited to see where they go. P.S. The Instagram page is a must-have as well. We appreciate that, SMI Scrapper. Guys, make sure if you enjoyed the podcast, share it with a family member, a friend, any associate that maybe even could be at a low point in life or in business that just needs that little pick-me-up. Yeah. And we know that it does help people because of the messages that we've received of people saying they were at a low place. They found our podcast or the Instagram, and it kind of helped them, get their mind right again and put them back on the right track. 100%. So this isn't just to pump our own ego up, guys. This is about helping people and being genuine, just as we talked about with Jasen today. So make sure you're sharing these episodes with anybody that you love or care about, and make sure you rate and review the podcast so that you can have an opportunity for your review.
Yeah, especially with someone like Andy getting out of it, man. Yeah. I mean, he's put out great content for a lot of years. Excellent I followed him, and I was kind of bummed to hear that. But, but dude, we plan on doing this for years to come. Yeah. We plan on being consistent for the whole community, and we just really want to help business owners, man. So share it with like-minded people.
Absolutely. Leave a review. Guys, you have an opportunity for us to read your review on the next podcast that we do. So we appreciate you guys as always. Keep kicking ass. Thanks, guys.